Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that every hour you worked last year, every sacrifice you made, every overtime shift you pushed through added up to almost nothing. Your bank balance barely moved, your savings never grew, and you feel like you are running in place while everyone else somehow pulls ahead. That sinking feeling in your stomach, that quiet frustration that makes you wonder if you are doing something wrong, that is exactly what the first $50,000 feels like. It is the moment you discover that effort alone is not enough to change your financial life. You can grind 50 hours a week, you can cut every unnecessary expense, you can live on instant noodles, and the progress will still feel painfully slow because you are trying to build wealth with nothing but muscle. Every dollar you save is a dollar you had to fight for. And every setback, a broken tire, a medical bill, a family emergency feels like the universe slapping you backwards down the hill you just climbed. This is why the beginning feels impossible. Not because you are doing anything wrong, but because you have not yet reached the moment where money starts helping you instead of mocking you. Wealthy people do not become wealthy because they are smarter or luckier. They become wealthy because they survive this stage without quitting. They understand that compounding is not magic at the bottom, it is magic at the top. Small amounts do not grow fast. They barely grow at all. And that is where most people lose the game. They look at their tiny returns and think, what is the point? So they stop saving, stop investing, stop pushing. But the truth is brutal. Compounding does not care how hard you work. It only cares how long you stay in the game. The first 50,000 is the admission ticket. It is the part where you struggle for years, sometimes a decade, just to build a base that future money can stand on. And the moment you finally cross that line, the moment that first 50,000 is real, everything changes. A small percentage gain suddenly matters. A modest investment suddenly has weight. Your money finally shows up to work beside you. And for the first time in your life, you are not climbing uphill alone. That is why this milestone is everything. It is the doorway out of financial gravity and the beginning of real financial freedom. Picture yourself standing on a long road with nothing but a small backpack and a massive mountain in the distance. That mountain is your first $50,000. Every wealthy person you admire has climbed it, and every person stuck in the paycheck to paycheck cycle is still staring at it from the bottom. This is the moment where wealth psychology separates those who build wealth from those who stay trapped in survival mode. At the beginning, your progress feels insulting. You save a few $100s, you invest it, and your account whispers back a few dollars in growth, barely noticeable, barely motivating. You start questioning whether compound interest is even real or just something personal finance gurus talk about online. Meanwhile, the world throws distractions at you. Ads telling you to upgrade your lifestyle, friends encouraging you to treat yourself, temptations that drain your momentum one swipe at a time. But this is where the real transformation happens. Wealth is not built when the numbers get big. Wealth is built when the numbers are small, boring, and easy to ignore. This stage is not about becoming rich, it is about building the discipline that creates financial freedom later. When you are climbing toward that first 50,000, every dollar is a soldier. Every dollar is proof of your new money mindset. The person you used to be would spend that money on comfort, entertainment, or impulses. The person you are becoming sees those dollars as seeds, seeds that grow future investments, future opportunities, future independence. And here is the shift wealthy people make early. They stop measuring progress emotionally and start measuring it mathematically. They understand that small returns are not a sign of failure. They are the unavoidable early chapters of investing for beginners. They know that money compounds slowly at first because the base is small, not because the strategy is broken. And when you finally accept that the early stages of wealth building are supposed to feel slow, something powerful happens. You stop chasing shortcuts. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop getting frustrated by small investment gains. You gain patience. You gain clarity. And that patience is what carries you to the milestone that changes everything. The moment your money starts multiplying faster than your doubts, you leave the old version of yourself behind the version that quit early, spent recklessly, and wondered why financial independence never arrived. This is where you begin to understand that wealth is not an event. Wealth is a habit that outlasts excuses. Now imagine you finally start making progress. Not fast progress, not exciting progress, but the quiet kind that only shows up if you are paying attention. Your savings account inches upward. Your investments grow by tiny amounts that barely feel real. This is the stage where most people abandon the climb because they think the effort is not worth the reward. But what they do not understand is that this is where your financial discipline is forged. When your returns are small, your brain wants to quit. It wants to spend the money, enjoy the moment, and escape the rat race for a weekend. And this is exactly why wealthy people win while everyone else falls behind. They master their money habits during the boring years, not the exciting ones. They treat every dollar like a worker hired to build their future, not a toy to be traded for instant gratification. This phase is where you start building high-income skills, learning how to invest early, and training your mind to see money differently. You begin to understand that every unnecessary purchase delays your freedom. Every impulse decision pushes your milestone further away. Every time you choose comfort over progress, you reset the clock. Wealthy people avoid this trap because they know the early years are not supposed to feel rewarding. They know that long-term investing only becomes powerful when the numbers get big, not when the numbers are small. That is why they can stomach slow progress while everyone else runs towards short-term pleasure. And here is the psychological twist. Once you stick with it long enough, the slow progress becomes momentum. Your money skills sharpen, your savings grow faster, your investments stop crawling and start jogging. You begin to feel something you have not felt before: control. Control over your finances, control over your habits, control over your future. And when you taste that control for the first time, your mindset shifts. You realize you are no longer fighting money. You are directing it. You are shaping it. You are using it as a tool to break out of survival mode. And that is the moment you begin building real passive income. The kind that eventually grows larger than your effort, larger than your paycheck, and larger than anything you could ever earn trading your time. This is when you stop being a spender, stop being a dreamer, and start becoming the person who actually reaches financial independence. Because now you understand the truth. The first 50,000 is not built on excitement. It is built on patience that most people simply do not have. Now picture this. You finally get a raise, a promotion, maybe a better job, and for the first time in a long time, you feel like you can breathe. Most people take that moment and throw away years of progress in a single weekend. They upgrade their apartment, trade in their car, start eating out more, and tell themselves they earned it. But this is the trap that destroys more wealth than bad investments ever will: lifestyle creep. It is the silent enemy that pulls you back to zero every time your income rises. And this is exactly where wealthy people and regular people split into two different worlds. Wealthy people freeze their lifestyle. They keep their stability engine locked. They take their new income and funnel it straight into saving more money, investing more money, and building long-term wealth. Meanwhile, everyone else uses their raise to climb deeper into financial pressure. They call it self-care, but it is really self-sabotage. They think higher income means freedom, but it only means freedom if the extra money stays in your account, not your closet. This is the moment where your money mindset has to mature. You cannot build financial independence if every new dollar goes toward comfort instead of capital. Your future wealth depends on your ability to resist the temptation to treat yourself every time life gets a little easier. When you lock your lifestyle, something incredible happens. Your savings jump, your investments grow faster, your margin widens. Every extra dollar becomes a tool for financial transformation instead of a ticket to short-term pleasure. And here is where your journey becomes unstoppable. Once you consistently invest more than you spend, the entire game shifts. Suddenly, you are not living paycheck to paycheck. Suddenly, the idea of long-term wealth stops feeling theoretical and starts feeling inevitable. You watch your accounts rise month after month, and something clicks. You finally see the power in staying disciplined while everyone else explodes their lifestyle. This is the part where you stop worrying about money and start directing it with intention. You begin to understand that becoming wealthy has less to do with earning more and everything to do with avoiding the traps that drain your progress. And when you resist those traps long enough, you accelerate past everyone who gave up discipline for comfort. You are building a version of yourself that most people never meet, a version with control, clarity, and the patience to let money multiply instead of evaporate. Imagine sitting in front of your investment account and seeing your returns for the year. It is a few $100s, maybe a few thousand, if you pushed hard, and instantly, your brain whispers the lie that ruins most people's financial lives. This is too slow. That voice convinces millions to quit right before compounding gets powerful. This is the psychological test the wealthy pass and everyone else fails. The early years of investing feel painfully small because the base is small, not because the strategy is broken. Those tiny returns are not a sign of failure. They are the initiation fee, the price of admission, the toll you pay before compound interest starts carrying you. The people who never build wealth look at those small numbers and feel nothing, so they stop. They trade long-term strategy for short-term excitement. They pull their money out to upgrade a phone, take a vacation, or chase some temporary thrill that dies in a week. What they do not understand is that compounding is not designed to impress you at the beginning. It is designed to reward you later, only after you have proven you can stay patient when patience feels pointless. Wealthy people endure the boring years without flinching because they know those years are the foundation of future freedom. They view every small return as proof that their system works, not as a reason to quit. They understand that money needs time to grow roots before it grows branches. And once those roots take hold, once your investments grow enough to earn more than you save, everything changes. That is the moment you experience what people online call wealth momentum. The moment your money starts making more money than your effort. It feels almost supernatural the first time it happens. You look at your returns and realize your capital outperformed your labor. That is the psychological turning point that most people never reach because they never survive the early boredom. They quit on year 1 when nothing happens and never see year 10 when everything happens. They abandon the system before compounding even has a chance to show its power. But when you stay disciplined long enough, when you ignore the temptation to spend your progress, when you protect your investments from impulse decisions and emotional reactions, the tables flip. Suddenly, your wealth no longer crawls, it runs. It jumps. It compounds. And you finally understand why wealthy people keep saying that patience is more important than brilliance. Brilliance cannot replace time, but time multiplies everything you do right. Now picture the moment when everything finally clicks. You wake up one day, check your investments, and realize your money earned more while you slept than you used to earn in an entire week. This is the moment wealthy people wait for, the moment your capital becomes your partner instead of your burden. And it always begins at the same milestone, that first $50,000. This is the point where your dollars start behaving like employees that never sleep, never get sick, never ask for a raise, and never stop working. And while most people waste their entire lives stuck in the paycheck trap, trading time for money and wondering why nothing ever changes, you finally feel the financial freedom that comes when money works harder than you do. But this is also where the danger appears. The moment people feel momentum, they think the rules no longer apply. They get overconfident, chase risky investments, fall for trends, expand their lifestyle, or pull money out of their portfolio just to celebrate. That is how people fall back below the milestone they fought so hard to reach. Wealth is not just built, it must be protected. Wealthy people stay wealthy because they understand one simple truth. You do not escape gravity once. You escape it every day you choose discipline over impulse. That first 50,000 is not the finish line, it is the starting gun. It is the point where you finally enter the real game. The game where capital multiplies, opportunities expand, and generational wealth becomes possible. But none of that matters if you let ego, impatience, or lifestyle creep drag you backward. Your job is simple. Keep your lifestyle fixed, keep your savings strong, keep your investment strategy boring, and keep your discipline unshakable. If you do that, the path to 1 million becomes a matter of time, not luck. And once you see your money compounding beyond anything your labor could ever produce, you will realize something that changes your entire mindset forever. Wealth was never about brilliance, connections, or perfect timing. It was about surviving the early struggle, building the first pile of capital, and refusing to quit when progress felt slow. That is the moment you shift from surviving to building, from building to growing, and from growing to multiplying. And when you look back years later at how far you came from that first 50,000, you will understand the truth the rich already know. The hardest part is starting, but the most important part is not stopping.